Welcome everybody back to Nine's Corner. As you can see, I'm outdoors, I'm getting my vitamin D, and I am telling you, I'm being energized by this spring. And you may hear some chickens and roosters in the background. That's because we have chickens and roosters. So take it as a sign that if they're chirping, that means spring is coming and there's hope on the horizon, all those good things. So part of the reason I wanted to come outside and do another reading is because, let's face it, it's nice out and we have cold and warm days. So the warm days you really want to take advantage of. And secondly is because I really want to talk about energy. And I've mentioned this in other readings before, but you know, we keep talking about vaccinations, and that's something we're going to cover in a reading to follow. But I just wanted to say that, as we're energy, so like even a glass of water, we're connected to that because I'm energy, the water's energy. You can change the water's energy, put gratitude into it before you serve it to yourself. There's there's a connection between us and the sun and the grass and everything else in the universe and in the environment. So we may not be able to control the outer layer that's happening in the world with the pandemic. We may not be able to control what's happening within the governments and how that the rules and regulations affect us. But we can take control of our own immunity and changing the vibration. So, if everything is vibration, and we know that, in order for us to get the virus, you have to be a good host. So let's do everything in our power to be a bad host. Let's start building up our immune system naturally with good foods or vitamins or whatever you have access to. Even if you change one thing, that's one thing better. I'm trying to get vitamin D. I take vitamin D supplements. I have vitiligo, so I have a real issue with the sun and all that kind of stuff. But I do have certain things that I feel make my immunity stronger. And that's also, if I'm taking a sip of coffee, I will twist it and turn it and say, okay, I'm putting positive vibrations into this liquid so that when I drink it, I'm getting positive vibrations. And this can happen. And I mean, there about a year ago, I was in hospital for a month. Now, believe me, it's easier to be kept down for a month here in home with your family and being able to get outdoors than it is in a hospital. But when I was in hospital, I was doing a lot of crocheting. And then as soon as I got out of hospital, it's like the energy of crocheting was negative to me. Like I dropped it like a hot potato. And then more recently, my sister's a nurse and I wanted to try to feel some way of connecting with her. And I was told by somebody about making masks by crocheting. So then I took my own advice and I changed the energy. I took out all my products and I put it out in the moon and I just said, you know what, this is going to be a change of positive energy. This is going to be something that I will use for my artistic needs, and there's no more negative. I banish it, and I kind of did this cleansing and I changed the energy, and I was able to, and I'm going to show you, look, I crocheted a mask. Right? I mean, that's pretty cool. So I thought, you know what? We have the power to change our vibration. So I am going to get into some negative vibration, unfortunately. That's where we have to go because truth will set us free. And we're going to be going into some really interesting times, but you have the power to protect and manifest, and we have the ability to change the energy. So knowledge is the ability to change the energies. So I wanted to look into China because in our previous readings, we said, we're going to find out that this was man-made. Now, that doesn't mean the virus was man-made. It means that somehow, some way, somebody put it accidentally into the ether, and that is something that was known and held by man. And you're starting to hear that. We said that you're going to start hearing rumblings about China, and that has happened. We said that there's a lot more people that have passed away and we're going to find out about, and that has come to pass. I mean, 50%. So I am slowly but surely coming along to my truths. And one of my truths is when I look at China, I'm worried that they're posturing for Cold War. We may already be in it. It may be already happening. But I think as 2020 gets more stronger and we get further into 2020, that, everything that's in the dark has to come to the light. And this is going to be especially strong for China. Their economy's hurting, their people are hurting. It's the perfect storm for an uprise, and they need it. The Communist Party needs to go. Those poor people have been suffering for so long. But you have to appreciate that while they're faltering, they don't care about the person. They only care about making sure the Communist Party survives. And they're supported by Russia. And Donald Trump is going through difficult times in the U.S. And he's posturing and has been posturing against China from, putting sanctions against them. And now he's blaming them for the whole pandemic. And I'm really worried about the drum beats in the distance that China's going to get upset. So I thought, let's have a look and see the past, present, and future for China. What's going to be happening, because something's not right. Let's look. So, in the past, Page of Cups. So this is the telling of hearing about covered up information that's going to be emotional. People are going to start speaking out. There's going to be a slow drip drip of information coming out. China is braced for a time of change, and the Page of Cups is giving messages of love through the darkness, that this is the time of change. In the future, Six of Wands. So we're looking at a false reality. There's going to be the Communist Party reality of we're in charge, everything's good. But as you can see, these people are uprising. So I think we are coming into a few years, if not longer, for China to try to become democratic and to push their way into a new way of being. But it's going to be against the government, and it's going to be difficult. In the future, the Three of Pentacles. So there's going to be a plan. There's going to be a changing of the foundation, and that's going to benefit the people. But this is going to take a long time. These changes won't come easily, and the government is, there's like going to be strategies from the government that are going to have to be overtaken. So is China bracing to push against the world in the way of war? Is China pressing against the backlash from the war, from the pandemic that's happening? Because every country has its issues with them, however loudly they're speaking, from U.S. to India, even in Canada. So are they bracing to push for war? Eight of Cups. They are feeling Eight of Swords. They're feeling very violated. They're feeling very boxed in by the world and by the government. This is a very vital time, because when anybody's boxed into a corner, you don't know how they're going to react. And this is the thought of war. They're going to be posturing. There's going to be some pushback from China, some misinformation. This is a lot to do with thoughts and media and things coming. Oh, death, transformation. There's going to be big changes coming across the world, and it's not a time to put fear into it, because fear and anxiety does what? It brings down your immune system, which is not what we need. This is a time to look at looking at transformation and the death of the old ways as a positive thing, and how you fit into that, and to make yourself be aligned to and build up to that vibration, because change has to come. And I do think that there's going to be some really dangerous times coming up. I think this could be hidden enemies, and with Russia being behind China, I think that the U.S. and specifically Trump should watch his back. In previous readings, I've seen Trump possibly getting sick between now and June, July, or having something happen, an accident, a car accident. And now with this reading, I'm kind of thinking, sugar, maybe hidden enemies could actually be when they see that Trump is at his weakest, and they're not there to support him. They're there to support themselves, that they might go after Trump. So what's the future of it? What's the finality? Five of Cups. So let's be careful. There's going to be some posturing. There's going to be some difficulties coming up on a world stage with China. Okay, let's get these back in and let's look at how does China directly affect the U.S., past, present, and future. How does China directly affect the U.S., past, present, and future, especially if they're feeling boxed in and they're posturing to cause difficulty? How is that? How is that going to be with the U.S.? In the past, the Queen of Swords. So it's been a difficult relationship, one in which there's a need and then it's sort of like a double-edged sword. There's one side where there's the need and there's the benefit, the financial benefit of being friendly with China. And then there's the other side of the sword where you have to, and they have, and that's not just U.S., all countries have closed their eyes to the inhumane acts and, you know, the beyond belief things that happen there. Oy. In the future, we have the devil. So I think that Trump may push against China just to try to support or add support to his falling campaign. I think this is also a warning. This is the second time I'm going to say it. Trump needs to be careful. Hidden enemies. Hidden enemies. And that's not just in China. That could be right there in his own home. There's so much division and there's so much anger that there's going to be difficult times. So we need to be careful. In the future, the King of Wands. So I think the future looks bright. I think the King of Wands means that there's going to be a renewal of working together. But this is far into the future as it's a king. We have a long way to go. I think that as a world, we're going to have to become more cognizant of our place in the world, our effect on the environment, and all the effect of everything, because whatever happens here affects the world. I mean, you know, the fact that we may be able to still go to the grocery store and pick up a few items does not take away from the fact that there's places in the world right now where there's starvation and famine already. Like, that's scary. So we as a collective have to be responsible for all of it and for the change. And I think that's coming, and it's scary, but it's such a positive thing. We are definitely moving into Aquarius, and that is such a positive, amazing time. And we chose to be here for this. So let's just have a quick look at Russia and how Russia is going to be affecting the relations between China, the U.S., and really China and the world, because Russia and even Saudi Arabia, to an extent, you know, support China. So let's just see, how is Russia's influence on China behind the scenes going to affect its relations with the world. So in the past, we've got the Eight of Pentacles. It's all about them looking at the fine print, getting what they want. This is definitely devising a plan. It's like always looking for themselves at the bigger plan and almost like a world domination. This is somebody who is very intelligent, and I see this as Putin. Oy, Five of Pentacles. So they're going to be coming into some loss. They're going to be on the losing side of history because they are supporting China in a outwardly way and in an underground way as well. In the future for Russia, relations with China and the world, Knight of Cups. You know, as negative as some of my readings might sound, there always seems to be this ending of in the future, whenever that shall be, because it's based on how we get there, how long it takes for us to awaken and get there. That there's always this unity, that there's this going to be this time of where all peoples have a freedom, similar to the one that we enjoy here in Canada and the US, as limited as it may be, and as this time we need to push back and ensure that we're taking care of our rights, even though we need to take care of everybody's health, that there's got to be this new awakening of time, that we realize the importance of each human life, no matter where we are, where it comes from, and come to this place of unity and energy flow and all those good things. So there's some really amazingly positive things coming. I mean, even with just them looking into the viruses and everything, and this coming into the time of Aquarius and air and thought, that there's going to be lots of inventions and things that are going to make our life easier, especially when it comes to health, because there's going to be a strong focus in it. So there's all kinds of positive linings here, silver linings here to see. So with that, I'm going to show you, I have my candle lit for each and every one of us. Wishing you a fantastic day, and looking forward to tomorrow when I get to, I think I'm going to get my husband or my son, whichever one will be willing to put their hand in the basket that I have here. And I'm going to put the numbers in and see who wins for a free reading. Yay! So, wishing you light for your darkness and good energy. Have a great day.